Yeah, I was gonna say just like start recording because like I feel like this is probably gonna be fantastic.
How
It'll
you
just be like a
feeling?
visceral response.
Matt Sells just learned that he has a completely torn triceps tendon.
So like God, I feel like we can probably do the whole podcast on this, which may be entertaining. Like it's interesting and it's shitty weather here, and I'm using my awful arm to adjust my light. There we go.
Oh,
Uh, so I think this it kind of goes to say like even though somebody's people are professional, like you get different professional opinions and you talk to different people. And I think you hit record after I said this, but like my hair is friggin' insane. So just if you're watching the video one, I apologize. But yeah, like can't even say like second opinion. But yeah, I literally just hours ago learned I have a completely ruptured triceps tendon to the point where like my triceps is not attached to my elbow. So some of the stuff I was physically doing should not have anatomically been possible. So
but it's
where there's a
because
will, there's
you're
a way.
so incredibly strong, and
It's powerful.
your shoulder probably took the brunt of the load of you
Yeah,
doing
and
any work.
I wonder why like my shoulder's tired and fatigued now. It's like, oh, all right, like it's just been doing
Aha!
everything, anything because I've tried not to use my right arm, but like they like the initial doc. So God, quick rundown just so I think it's entertaining. Saw a doctor and a PA, 11 days ago. They were like, hey, let's put you in a splint. Kind of argued with that, even though I'm not a medical professional. I was like, hey, like I can just not extend it. Like I still have to work, still have to do this podcast. Like I don't want to like they're okay, well, we'll take you out. You can take the splint off to like type and stuff, but put it back on, blah, blah, blah. So I was scheduled to meet with a surgeon today after I had initially tried to make the appointment with her, they were like, "Oh, she's out of town. She's out because she had a family emergency, so we'll just call you whenever when she's back." And I'm like, "That's not gonna work. Like, I have a torn triceps tendon potentially. Like, I did the MRI." So once I said that, oh no, you can have a virtual appointment with her. They scheduled it for today, so it's supposed to be like 1:30 today at 8 o'clock this morning. They're like, she's not going to be able to do it, so like we'll call you. And I'm like, when she's in, I was like, you have to refer me to somebody else. Like this does not work for me. Like it's like I entered it April 28th. Okay, we'll have her PA like call you. Like, PA of course never called me, so I contacted another physician today. I liked him. He was a wrestling fan, so
Ah,
he was
hey,
like, yeah. So he's like, yeah. He's like, you're a year older than me. He's like, so I'm sure you had like Nitro on one TV and Raw on the other one, right? Like,
yeah, or at least that was around the time when those quick the button on the remote could let you go back. Like,
right, just like yeah, back. Or what we'd always do is like my brother would be in one room watching one, and I'd be in the other room watching the other, and then it'd run in the other room. Because I remember like I was watching Nitro, he was watching Raw on August 9th, 1999, and he comes running and goes, "Holy shit, Chris Jericho's on Raw!" So like
what?
it's. But this doctor was great because he was like, "Yeah, they shouldn't have put you in a splint. That makes no sense." And like, it kept like, and I'm like, "No, you can keep lighting into him. You're okay." He was like, "I don't ever want to like do that with another professional." Like, no, like they've been morons. You're fine. Like, so yeah. Long story short, completely torn triceps tendon. Meet with the surgeon tomorrow because he was like, I usually deal with stuff less than this, even though he's a sports medicine guy. It's like he called the surgeon while I was there. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can do that quick, easy peasy." So good news. So maybe tomorrow, hopefully surgery next week, and here we go. So I feel like this today will kind of light into a number of different things that we've talked about in the past, and what we plan on talking about today of like habits and discipline over motivation is kind of what I've been doing a lot lately because I don't feel like doing anything. I'm not motivated, but I get up and go to the gym anyway. Like I'm doing unilateral training. I'm still doing cardio if nothing else. I lack a complete bit of motivation now. You know, like I know we talk to a lot of people that we've talked about this before. It's like I'm just not motivated. I'm just not motivated. I'm not either. I am the furthest thing from motivated right now. But it's
Yeah,
just I'm somebody who gets up and works out. That's it. Like that's what I do. So like I'm doing that. I don't want to. It sucks. I can't do what I normally do. but I'm doing it. So like,
Oh
I think
yeah.
that's kind of a lesson. And I think I just unloaded like probably 60 minutes worth of shit in like 5 minutes right there. But yeah, that's where we're at.
No, it's okay. I'm totally fine with all this. It sets the precedent for what we do want to talk about. Um, my family was just here celebrating my mom's birthday and Mother's Day, and David Goggins got brought up during that discussion. You know who David Goggins is, right?
The name rings a bell.
So
But full disclosure too, since I found out I'm not gonna be able to wrestle and play baseball and stuff for 6+ months, there's a little bit of alcohol in my system as well as we record this. So remind me.
yeah, go back and listen to one of our most popular episodes, Alcohol, Nutrition, and Fitness. So they were here, and David Goggins got brought up. David Goggins is, I want to say that he's the only person to ever complete Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, and Air Force tactical training. So that's the three elite divisions of those, or those are the elite divisions of three of armed forces, things in America. And he always has this quote that is, people ask me what I'm training for. I'm not training for anything. I'm just training to be ready. So I'm always ready. And he also talks a lot about discipline versus motivation because he holds the world record for the most number of pull-ups, I think, currently also. And he specifically talks about it's not that you have to be motivated for anything, you just have to want to get something done. You
Right.
have to go out and just do it. There's plenty of times when he doesn't feel well. He has many documented times when he's hurt and injured, and still goes out and does all these crazy ultra marathon runs and other feats of physical abilities. But when it comes to both him, Matt, anyone out there at all that has to have surgery and then you have to recover, you're going to increase needs of various things in your nutrition to help you recover well and quickly, so that way you can get back to doing the regular activity that you were doing before.
And it's not what I texted back to Ryan earlier when he said we were going to discuss this today because I said the nutrition just equals HGH and alcohol, right? Like that's
that those are supplements.
so go back to the supplement episode. Conditionally essential. Because with this condition, it's essential.
Yeah, it may help you feel better intermittently. I I don't know enough about HGH and steroids to be the one that you want to talk to about how well that
I
would
will
help
say
you.
this is a fun anecdote. I don't remember if I texted you this or not because I was texting multiple people afterwards, so like stuff's a fog. But like the doctor asked me, he was like, "Are you on anything?" I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Do you take like any like steroids?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, he's like the tear is consistent with people who are on hardcore steroids. I think I did text you because I was like,
Yeah,
muscles are powerful. Like, yeah, so like, yeah, that was intriguing to me that like the strength of my muscles is consistent with people who just like are able to rip tendons off the bone because like when you take hardcore gas, like your tendons are not hypertrophying at the same rate as your muscles. So I
yeah.
feel like that's a big win for me. This is
If
a huge
Matt was
loss, but it's
a
a big win.
Dragon Ball Z character, his power level would be over 9,000. So
So if you're
either
a Dragon
way,
Ball Z character and you're over 9,000, but you're Iron Man and I love you more than 3,000, is that 6,000? Like, how does this work?
I don't know if there's a difference or if it's addition or an exponential
It's
logarithmic
12,000.
kind of
All right.
growth.
Maybe, yeah. So it's 9,000 to 3,000. I can't even begin to figure that out.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of zeros. That's gonna be important. It's gonna be somewhere around uh thousands of zeros and thousands. Who knows? I wouldn't even be able to know where the line is that you switch over from whatever quad million it is or whatever to the, I don't know. There's too many zeros. I can't possibly do it. Either way, for all of those people, whenever you're injured, you have to go through some kind of surgery and you have to heal up quickly. There are some conditionally essential supplements that studies suggest could help heal up those wounds a little bit faster. And there are other studies that also suggest the food base that could help heal those wounds faster. And at the same time, if you are listening to this podcast, you are likely doing some kind of athletic endeavor. So you may already be getting some of those, but how much more could you use and utilize to help you heal up as quickly as you can possibly can? Right. So that's kind of what we're getting into and what I wanted to talk about. I thought it was really funny earlier. I was like, oh, this will be an easy podcast because I just talk about it because I do this at the hospital all the time.
I want to make sure to like reiterate to anybody that's listening. I'm talking about being injured, and Ryan's like, I think it'd be really funny to.
Yeah. Well, the funny part here is, Matt referencing steroids and people that use those growing their muscles so much it can rip the tendons off the bones, which is a true factual thing. Muscle certainly grows faster than tendons. Tendons generally don't grow, so they may become thicker over time with more use, but generally they don't grow at the thickness. That thickness that's grown doesn't happen at the same level that a muscle grows. So that's why it becomes more likely that you would, if you're like Matt and you've just been working so hard at getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger for such a long period of time, it's bound to be that something like that could occur. Now, Matt's happened in a traumatic event where he took a dive out of a ring and he hit the ground. So his wasn't a lifting related injury.
No, it's like if I was going to have this injury, I wish I were on like some stuff that my muscles were bigger.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I see plenty of times when people have torn muscles or tendons while doing lifts, and I'm surprised sometimes that people are still alive.
Right. Yeah. Like the wrong tendon goes out at the wrong time on the wrong lift, and yeah, it's lights out.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Sorry, I can't forget the video of this guy, but I can't remember the name of this powerlifter. He was doing a log press and he got it up to his shoulders. And when he went to push up, he popped both of his ACLs like simultaneously.
Ooh.
And the video, you can hear it. You can hear the click, like the pop, like you can hear the sound of the ACLs ripping. And the cameraman just drops the thing because the weight drops, right? So he's got this big weight and they both pop. But he ends up recovering and he's a powerlifter now. So like he still does all
Like
those things.
the sound of my ACL tearing will be something I will never forget. Like it's gut wrenching. I think any athlete that's heard it's an undeniable, indelibly etched sound in your head that like yeah, it sounded like a gunshot for me. It was insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. But that is one of those examples where he had done all this powerlifting same kind of things, Matt, and lifted, and it was just under that load of the weight. That's what caused, like, his tendons were not prepared to handle that weight. I want to say he said that he had just done a contest or something, so he had dieted down. So that puts you in a compromised position. He didn't properly prepare himself to get back up to that. He just jumped into it, and so that's what probably cost him that. For Matt, though, again, traumatic. Matt did a dive outside the ring. It's a high risk maneuver.
High risk, high reward. It was more risk versus reward at this point.
Yeah, that's gonna say the reward was a job well done and a handshake and a high quality hot dog. Probably not high quality. Probably the cheapest
No,
hot
it's
dog ever.
not for how I work anymore. It was not a hot dog. That's
Well, that's good.
just in case there's this weird cross section that we have of people that listen to this of like our potential clients and people who we work with and like actual like professional wrestling promoters. I don't want to put that into their head. No, I
Uh,
give quality work, I get quality payment. That's
right.
always
Yeah,
been the
exactly.
joke with the hot dogs with me, but no.
Oh yeah, that's the joke with wrestling. For those of you that are listening and don't know,
I know
uh,
there's so many people that are just like, I'm not listening to this episode today. I don't know what the hell
yeah,
they're talking about.
handshake and a hot dog was often a payment that we received, or a Coke, like handshake, hot dog, and a Coke. You can pick a can of soda and get your hot dog.
And it was never name brand. Like, it's
No,
always like
not even. I couldn't name the brands that they were because they were that generic. Right? So, but anyway, nutrition for wound healing starts with the simplest piece of it. It's increased calories in the form of protein, right? So your calories are going to go up a little bit because you got to put all that protein into place, and you can get some amount of calories from the protein that you consume, but it's most essential that you get in at least the amount of protein that you need to help heal you up. So those of you that are listening to this while you're moving and thinking about how much should I get, I always like to err towards the side of muscle protein synthesis.
Yep.
So barring any um, other chronic condition that would dictate that you do not need this volume of protein or that this volume of protein would harm you, uh, the study suggests that 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body mass, not lean
that's
muscle
that's
tissue.
that's interesting. Okay. All right, okay. So all right. But
So,
that's interesting because like normally I've gone with 1.4. So like I need to up it. All right.
right, as I'm saying, you probably are
No.
doing part of it, but how much more can you
Right.
get that's actually going to push you to the limit? 1.8 grams per kilogram of body mass. And you'll see people say that, oh no, it's only per lean body mass. It's only per the studies that or per it's not per total body mass. The studies are per total body mass for this. They didn't utilize lean muscle versus non-fat muscle. So if you're doing like lean muscle, it ends up being a weird extra point, but it never really gets to if you're doing the grams of protein per pound of body weight, which I cannot stand. It never really gets to that like 2 grams of protein
Yeah,
per
they go
pound.
back in the day to the muscle and fitness where it was like 2 to 3 grams per pound of body weight, which was insane. So like if you're a 200 pound person, yeah, you're taking in 600, 400 to 600 grams of protein a day.
Yeah, and it's that you still see that out there. I see that out there all the time. People suggest that. The reason going over 1.8 is not recommended is your body can't that's for the muscle protein synthesis, right? So everything is over that, your body would convert it to something else, whether it would be uh, carbohydrates that it converts it to, whether it excretes them as ketones. That would be, there's no way to say that it'll do one of those two things. It's just that it would be an excess. Your body wouldn't utilize it to create more muscle, right? So if you're trying to go for wound healing, you should be trying to go for the maximum muscle protein synthesis because that's going to heal your wound. I know it's muscle protein synthesis, and I'm sure there are dietitians out there that are going to try to call me out on this, but come on, I'll take you on this battle.
I was gonna say no. I would very much invite that because I like when like, my cat likes to turn off my video. This is the second time this happened. She's like, they don't want to look at you. No, but like I would invite people to do that because I always love when you get a little feisty and confrontational with nutrition stuff. It's just personally amusing for me,
Yeah.
if for no other reason.
But the thing there is you can extrapolate it to just tissue in general. Even if it was just tissue in general, minimally we would recommend that you get 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight for just tissue. So if muscle protein synthesis is 1.8, that's 0.3 grams is not really that massive of a leap. So again, if your body doesn't, if you don't have some other chronic condition that causes that to be an issue for you, you should go up to the 1.8 grams per kilo, right? So that'll help you out on that part of things. Outside of that, this goes back to some conditionally essential supplements. We've talked about it before. It is, let's see, I'm going to look up a product that has everything in it because then I don't have to say anything specifically. There are arginine, glutamine, and micronutrients, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin E, and B12.
Use
So
all those. Yeah. So far,
yeah,
it's your music to my ears. Like, yeah, everything you're saying's already there. Perfect. It's almost like I
right,
kind of know what I'm doing. All right, cool.
right, and that's what I'm saying. Though. So it's probably stuff that you may be already doing, but what can you go up to? And this is where it gets a little bit different, and that's in the dosing of things. The numbers for these, and so this would be best absorbed if it's split to 2 times per day. Okay, so you don't want to try to take cremolis in at once. Your body's going to end up excreting some of it. It doesn't actually get utilized for helping you heal. It's best if you spread these things out. So when we're looking at the arginine, this is where it gets tricky. So it would be 7 grams. It's twice a day, right? So 14 total grams, but 7 grams split up. And when you look at a lot of supplements of
A lot of
arginine,
products have it. It's like five, yeah, in a
right?
serving. So yeah.
Yeah, so you'd want to go. That's what I'm saying. Like what you probably are doing, but can you go up? And so if you did 5 twice a day, that's going to get you 10. That's better than the baseline of 5, right? So that gets you closer to the faster wound healing pathway. And the glutamine is also 7 grams. So twice a day, 7 grams. And it's best to have them, if you're going to have it, you want to have it with something that has a small amount of carbohydrates in it for the delivery of those nutrients into your bloodstream, like to make them, because they all move together. So that little bit amount, change twice a day. Then when it comes to the vitamins that I mentioned, the vitamin C is only 300 milligrams twice per day. And so you,
Okay, so that's not a whole lot. It's not taking
yeah,
your emergency like
yeah,
four times a day. Yeah.
yeah, it's not all that like that. So, um, and then the vitamin E is just 15 milligrams twice a day. The B12 is 1.2 micrograms per day, but that's probably you're probably gonna get that in a meat, right?
Right.
So if you eat meat adequately and you get to that 1.8 grams of protein and it comes mainly from meat sources, you're probably hitting that vitamin B12 number. And then
And if you want to hear Ryan's opinion on protein from non-meat sources, then there's a podcast on that we did in the past as well.
yeah, I stand by all those statements. There's, it's just a little tricky to get it from something that doesn't actually exist. But the calcium zinc, that is 200 milligrams of calcium and 9.5 grams of milligrams, not grams, sorry, 9.5 milligrams of zinc.
A
Only
lot
so
of
much
zinc
zinc.
if it's grams.
Right. Yeah. You'd be like you rub it on your skin, you'd be pasty, that's for sure. But 9.5 milligrams of zinc twice per day and 200 milligrams of calcium twice per day. And again, you probably want to get all those things like together, right? They all work synergistically a little bit to help with the wound healing pathway. There is a product that exists out there. If everybody wants to check the math, you can purchase it. Kind of expensive in my opinion. But it also has another thing in there in their product that has been shown in certain clinical trials to help increase your rate of wound healing. And that is HMB, so hydroxy beta methylbutyrate. And that the reason why this product exists for wound healing is because it used to be a product that was helping people work out and increase their pump. So they remarketed it as something else. I don't have anything against it. I pointed out and they're like, "You're correct." I was like, "Okay, just making sure." I recognize what's in there. It looks familiar.
Yep.
So
Yeah, probably stuff we were gravitating towards in college.
right, yeah. So don't have anything against it, but they found another way to market it and utilize it, and that's fine with me. But when it comes to all of these things, you can still get all of this stuff from food. You don't need the supplement. It just makes it an easier delivery to you. So that way you don't have to work kind of quote unquote as hard. Like you don't have to prepare food. You don't have to find somewhere that it naturally exists in the food for you. You can just pour this powder into your beverage of choice and drink it. But I would highly suggest that you do what I always suggest. Focus on your fruits and vegetables, get your vitamin D fortified foods, get all of your
Wait,
protein
you
from
want
lean
fruits and how
sources.
how many fruits and vegetables do I need per day, Ryan? I've never heard this before
Oh,
in this
you haven't heard this
podcast.
before? At least 2 servings of fruit and 3 servings of vegetable. That's where the 5 a day comes from.
I literally said that to a client the other day, and like I had to keep from laughing just maniacally because I heard you in my head when I was saying it. Just
I say it all the time. Uh, but that would give you that amount of uh, if you got various sources of fruit, you'd get that volume of vitamin C. And if you got the meat, you get that B12. If you get vitamin D fortified food, it likely has calcium in it, so you're going to get that. And the hard thing there out of those things is the HMB, because that is a byproduct of all those other foods that I mentioned. So you can't just eat this one thing and get a lot of HMB. Like you have to just eat well, and you're going to get it. Which is my argument against this product when they're like, "This is for wound healing." And I'm like, "What if somebody just eats better?"
like that's the main argument for everything. Like if you have proper nutrition, you're okay for the most part, like general population.
Right. Yeah. So, um, but this specifically though, this product, if you're listening out there and you're the company that owns this product, I do recommend it for a lot of people that have a hard time eating well.
It means
Uh,
we'll still take your sponsorship. That's
mhm, mhm. Not a sponsor yet, but you could be. So I definitely, when people are struggling with eating, it does help them out. But at a certain
that
point,
means like if they sponsor us, we'll go back in and re-edit this episode. Like so, like with this product we're talking about, it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it's perfect.
I'll insert it in here with a
No,
picture on the
no,
video. Like the video
perfect.
version will have like this is the picture,
There'll be
and
the jump cuts in there, and yeah,
and
perfect.
I'll put a link in the description directly to your pay area,
See,
so
I just
somebody
want to
can
make sure
purchase
there's
it.
incentive there for this particular company.
Mhm.
Let them know.
Yeah, hey, I'm I'm happy to support you doing well because that ends up supporting me doing well. So in general, just overall, as a dietitian, it does help us in the work that we do. So if you're out there and you've recently had a surgery or you have a surgery coming up, take a look at what it is that you're eating. Maybe some of these things we talked about in this podcast can help you out so that way you can kind of move towards setting yourself up for success, because some of these things, specifically those supplements that I listed at the end, there are studies that show if you preload with them. So I'm talking about you take them 3 days before your procedure and then at least 3 days afterward, you can decrease the closure of the wound by, I want to say it's like 3 or 4 days. So if you had like a big surgical incision and they tell you, oh, it's going to take 10 days to fully close, you might be able to fully close that sooner. And that oftentimes, if it's able to close sooner, that also means that your inside is healing up faster. And so that can help again on the pathway, getting you back to doing whatever athletic endeavors that you're attempting to do more quickly. Right. So either way, if any of you out there have questions about possibly healing yourself up quickly after surgery and implementing a good fitness plan to help you get back on track quickly, head on over to franchisenf.com, sign up for your free meet and greet, and we'll get you set up today. So
Yeah, we have the expertise, we have the education, and obviously we have the real life experience.
yeah. So like we say every week, maximize every bite.
Maximize every rep.